Hey y'all, it's been a little bit since I posted anything. I haven't done hardly any work on the cabin in months. I am staying in it. I've stayed through the winter. We are in April right now, and it's been good. But I've just been doing a lot of cleaning up around the property, doing garden prep stuff. I told myself I've been neglecting the garden, just kind of halfway working on it, so I told myself I need to concentrate on doing that. So that's what I've been working on. Just I cleared some stuff up here, back here behind me. Those were all pine trees that during the winter, with the sun setting low, the cabin stayed in the shade during the winter time, which was I didn't like that very much. So I did open it up. I have blueberries, wild blueberries or huckleberries planted there. I have persimmon trees there. I plan on trying to put a couple other fruit, maybe some figs, maybe some plums, things like that. Now that that's in the sun, some small fruit trees or small trees that'll lose their leaves in the winter time. So hey, let's take a look around. I'll give you an update on what's going on with the cabin. So this right here behind me, the sun is pretty low and it's not cloudy at all. It's very clear, so it's bright out here. But I got my porch going up. Now that we've walked to the dark side of the moon, so the back side of the cabin here is it stays in the shade. But this is my back porch. I got it decked, so it's not very big, just big enough to be kind of a summertime sitting place. I plan on putting it under roof. I plan on putting like a knee wall up and then putting some screen up, so it'll be a screened in porch. I do have on the back side, there's a drop off. It's built on a hill, so it's elevated probably about 10 foot off the ground where the foundation of the deck is. So I am going to put some steps going down here to get to it from the back side, and an access door. And of course I have the back door to the cabin right here. But right now I have it screwed shut. I'm going to end up changing this door out once I get the roof on, because it has moved so much it's not very usable. So I made this out of oak. I thought it's like the front door. I had to redo the front door, take it off and make it out of pine. So I'm going to do the same thing here. The oak was just not dry enough. It moved just way more than I thought it was going to move. Like this gap right here was tight like this, and it's a good ½ inch gap right there. And it's not only has the wood shrunken up, it's twisted some. So I had to put blocks on it and screw it closed for the winter time. And it had so much gap in it on the inside, I got a blanket stuffed in all the holes, because this is the north side of the cabin and the wind would blow through there. You could feel it blowing through the gap. So that's something I'm going to have to fix and take care of before next winter. So I'll get that done once I get the roof on that deck. So we'll walk in. I'll turn y'all around. So this is the inside of the cabin. So it's still not everything has its place. I have a little kerosene heater right there. I haven't run it a whole lot. It does a really good job of warming this place up, but the price of kerosene is just crazy, and it goes through kerosene pretty quick. So that's kind of like emergency standby for times that it's gotten really cold. My main heat source right here is the wood burning stove. It does a good job. It gets really hot. It heats this place up pretty quickly. The only downside is it is not an insulated unit. So once the fire, if you stop feeding it, the fire goes out pretty quickly, and it doesn't retain heat very well. So this is the back door that I was speaking about that I'm going to have to change out. So right now, like I said, I just got a blanket over it stuffed in the gaps to keep, you know, wind out, and also just to try to keep some critters from coming in. So this is the main living area right here. I do a lot of reading. I don't have any television or anything like that back here. The only power I have is this EcoFlow solar generator. I think it's like a 4K unit. It does pretty good job. I got solar panels on the back. I have a electrical line run under the cabin, and it comes out, excuse all the mess, under the bed, and I have a phone charger and another line running to the other side right there to where I have my lamp plugged in. So this is the bed, and just a makeshift place to put my clothes. So I have them hanging on hooks and this and that. I plan on building a closet in this corner that'll be closed off. Like I said, my storage right here is very minimal. This is just miscellaneous junk thrown on a table because I don't have any storage place for it. But yeah, this is where we are on the inside of the cabin. So I have my water filter, bookshelf, my table that I can't use a whole lot as a table right now because I don't have place to store things, so it just becomes another storage spot. Little cabinet right here. I just have some odd and ends in there. Got the old homemade curtain rods and curtain rod holders. Those are fresh from the woods outside. They do a good job of holding the curtains up. So yep, this is it. This is the cabin life. So I have a fully furnished house up at the front of the property where my daughter and son-in-law and grandkids live. So that was when I was originally looking at property. I really liked the property. It was back in the day they grew cotton out here, so it's a very uneven. It's not a flat terrain property. There's a lot of hedgerows already built on the property that that helps with rainwater from just washing downhill. So There's a lot of natural growth on the property. It hasn't. Pine plantations are a really big thing down here in South Mississippi. A lot of people that own property grow pine trees, and every so often they'll go and clear cut the pines, sell the timber, make money, and then just grow pines again. And it's just, instead of a food crop, it's a tree crop. So a lot of times finding land out here, I did not want a pine plantation. So for me, finding property out here was difficult, and this is why I really like this property. The individual I bought it from was just using it as a hunting place. So he had a double wide mobile home up at the front, and it was just a small property that he used to hunt on. So everything is just natural growth. There's a good mix of pine that I can mill and use for building material, such as this cabin. And there's also a bunch of natural hardwoods, a lot of oak, some pecan, some hickory, like a hognut hickory, wild black cherry, a lot of persimmon, sassafras, and then there's also a lot of wild huckleberries, blackberries, dewberries, things like that. So I really like the diversity of vegetation on the property, which is why I bought it. So with that being said, there's a mobile home up at the front, a double wide mobile home that's big enough. We all lived in it for a while as I was building the cabin. And now that I've got the cabin livable, I'm back here staying in it. So now that, they've spread out up front, which is good. And it's good for me too, because I don't have to rush on things. I have fully functioning, I have high-speed internet up at the front, water source, bathrooms, all of that good stuff. So I have all the modern amenities that I can utilize up at the front. So, I'm not roughing it by any stretch. Some would beg to differ probably, but for me, I'm not roughing it at all. So alright, so right on the south side of the cabin, we're up on a little hill. It's a little terrace that goes up. So that's the south side of the cabin. As you can see, that's where I have my solar panels just leaned up against the wall. I do plan on putting some type of structure right out here as like a little bathhouse or something. And then I plan on taking those solar panels and putting it on top of that structure. So that way they'll stay in the sun, then they'll be up off the ground. It'll be a little better setup. I will have to get some longer cable to run to them, but that's part of it. So this is the spot where I've been clearing. I did it all by hand, just one tree at a time. There was a lot of stuff in here that I wanted to keep in here. So a lot of this is, so we have sumac, we have that guy leaning there. He's straightening up a little as he grows, but that is a persimmon tree. I have other persimmon trees. I have some small oaks in here. I plan on cutting them out. I have some wild black cherry. There's one right back there. And so this spot right here is mainly gonna be for berries, maybe some small fruit trees. I have some blueberries planted in here. I transplanted some wild huckleberries in here. So I have a lot of wild huckleberries on the property, and some of these are actually starting to produce now. So this guy right here is a wild huckleberry, and it's actually starting to produce some berries now that it's gotten into the sun. It was shaded full time. So hopefully I'll have a good patch of blueberries, huckleberries, and persimmon. And if I plant anything else in here, I may do some plums or figs or such. Right here, well, I'm going to try to keep y'all out of the sun as best as possible. But so right out here in this mess, I got to clean it up. This is where I plan on putting like an outdoor kitchen out here. I want to put it goes down, it drops, there's a bluff that goes on the backside. I want to put it on the edge of that bluff so I can use that bluff to do a smokehouse onto the kitchen. So that way I can build a firebox at the bottom and have it come up to the smokehouse. And this over here is just another open spot. I plan on planting some type of fruit trees in there. Once I get this cleared up, I have a bunch of limbs I have to chip, firewood to chop, and another big, just like a slash pile to burn. So once I get all that cleaned up, that'll be another nice open area where the sun gets some sun, or I can plant some fruit trees in there. Alright, so let's head up to the front. I was going to show you the garden, so we'll start on the back side of the cabin. I'll show you my little journey that I take going back up and back and forth from the front to the back. So the good thing is I get my steps in. I enjoy the walk, and a lot of times the dogs will come walk back and forth with me, and they enjoy getting out and walking in the woods and chasing squirrels and such. This is the low spot of the property. So this is when it rains, I have a I guess like a drainage creek that runs through the woods. So when it rains, this is where the water drains. There's a lot of sand out here on the property. So back up this way, goes back toward where I have my meal, right over there around the corner. And then back up this way leads us to the house. So we have names for some spots out here. This is called Sunnyside Field. So this was an open spot, like a food plot, when we bought the place. So this was one of the few open spots in a wooded property. So we named it Sunnyside Field. I got a lot of cleaning up to do in here. We had some pretty bad weather this spring. We had some broken trees. and then trail breaks off, so that way went to where we had chickens and goats. That was one thing I liked about this property too. The prior owners did a good job of cutting some trails through here. All I had to do was clean them out. So we walk up that fence up ahead. This is where we did the garden. And this spot right here, where I normally drive my main thoroughfare, so now I have to go around because the kids have commandeered this into their area where they make forts and battle each other and all that stuff. So I've made this fence here to go around the garden. Mainly to keep goats and rabbits and stuff out. I have wire mesh running along the bottom of it. I gotta install some gates, but this is the beginnings of our garden. I gotta show some love to the soil. I got some tomatoes growing. I struggle with tomatoes out here. I think it's just they're not getting something in the soil. So got cucumbers and a trellis there for them. And this over here, that was an old structure. They got turned over in some weather and got bent up. It was a friend of mine's and he gave it to me. So that's where I'm going to put a greenhouse. I plan on getting some vinyl, clear vinyl tarp, and covering that to make a greenhouse. Put another gate here, and then I have another area for a gate, and I can get the tractor in and out of here. So here we are at the garden. I wasn't planning on putting rows in. I want to try to stick with a no-till practice and not using chemical fertilizers and such. So it's just, I know it's going to take me some time to get there, and that's okay. I call this hugel rowing. So I'm kind of using the hugel mound mindset. So I had to do rows. The property here and where the garden is on a slope. It was more dramatic. You can see right behind me, those logs right there are kind of like a barrier between the higher and like a bulkhead between the higher and the lower part of the garden. Because when it was sloped, on the higher side I dug into the high side and pulled the dirt out to the low, and then on the same as the bottom. So what I did is I ended up, instead of a slope property, I ended up making two sections like this. This was flatter and this was flatter, but this was higher than this. So where I'm standing is on the lower plateau, and then up above is the higher plateau, but it still has some slope to it. So when there's a good rain, the water will come through here like that. So I figured I have to do some rows to help slow the water down so it can start staying and getting into the ground and soaking in. So the rows I plan on being permanent. I don't plan on rowing every year. So, but what I am doing is between the rows, I started stacking limbs and deadfall sticks and piling them in between the rows, and then coming back with all the wood chips that I've been chipping from limbs. So I know there's a they'll rob some nitrogen out of the ground at first, but over time they'll start feeding back into the ground. And in the meantime, I'm gonna sow clover seeds all in here and use clover as a ground cover, a ground crop. So that way I'll have something. Clover is supposed to be a nitrogen fixing plant where it adds nitrogen to the soil instead of taking nitrogen from the soil. And plus too, over time, as it gets bigger, I can come in with a weed eater and just walk down the rows, just knock it down and let it decompose and further feed the soil. Also too, I have a bee box with an active hive in it, and the clover will be good for the bees as well. So I have some mixed varieties of clover seed that I'm gonna disperse inside the garden. I do have a section that is not hugeled. I have some corn planted there. Just gonna wait for the corn to get higher. I'll hoe it, and then once I hoe it, then I'll go through and do the same with it. So this is the garden. This is what I've been working on mostly. So just a lot of scratching, a lot of fence building, just stuff that I wanted to put some focus on and try to get done. It's a work in progress. I have some, I need to check the pH. I ordered a pH tester. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be on the acidic side, especially with this being, a heavy pine area, and then I'm using, raw chips to go in there, pine chips, which will probably add to the acidity of the soil. So I'm sure I'm going to have to add some lime. I did, before I did all the rowing, I had a huge slash pile up here that I burned, and I had a bunch of biochar ash that I scattered and tilled in this area. So that does work, or it does help to neutralize soil as well. It works a lot faster than lime. It does not stay as long, but it works quicker, and it's a good cheap way to do that. So I did do that, but I got a tester on the way here, and I'm gonna test it and see what I need to do for the pH. Alrighty, so this is my little update on what we've been working on for the last couple of months. Have not been doing a good job of uploading stuff, but I feel that most of it's been pretty just mundane and repetitious, and I don't want to just start making videos doing the same thing every day. So I think I am going to try to do more of a blog or a vlog fashion, more of a day-to-day activity, not just revolving around a project. I know I've been project focused, mainly on the cabin, which for a while that's pretty much what I've worked on, but now I'm starting to have to do a bunch of different things. And so my mind has always been cabin focused when doing videos, and for the last, I haven't done any work on the cabin for the last several months, which is why I haven't been making any videos and uploading them. So I plan on doing some adjustment with that, and hopefully it'll make a little better content. I need to work on my I guess focus on doing that, and being more proactive in capturing what goes on a day-to-day out here. So that's my game plan moving forward. And so just to have some videos of you know, just everyday life out here on the homestead, what we're trying to grow, what we're trying to build, and hopefully that y'all will like that content. So thanks for watching, anybody who's out there watching. I plan on doing better, putting future videos out, so we will get there.